Like, literally the only time Tidux has ever been right was whenever it was the most obvious thing in the world. Like, for example, when they announced Fallout 4 in 2015, they announced it they announced it back in, I think it was April, like with that trailer, or I think it was May actually, right? But like, it was a month before E3. When they did that, it was blatantly obvious Fallout 4 was coming out this year. Because if you look at their model, anytime they announce a Fallout game, it's coming out that year. Like they do it within a certain cycle, and they do the same thing each and every time. The only exception to that rule this year, like what actually happened this year, is it's going to be Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls is not coming out within 1 year of the announce date. Like when Skyrim came out, they announced that like in the Game Awards of whatever year that was. I think it was 2010, and then it came out within 1 year. Like they do that. That's Bethesda's release cycle. That's what they always do. Like, this isn't anything new. This isn't rocket science. But when Tidux goes out there and he says, "Oh man, it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out this year." Literally anybody could have predicted that. They didn't require any insider information. You can come up with anything. Like
that's like waiting until January and saying, "Oh, Activision's releasing another Call of Duty game this year." Hashtag.
Oh no, this is something
dude.
new. This required some real Nostradamus levels of work here. Like, oh no, Treyarch's gonna release Black Ops 3. They're gonna release Black Ops 4. Like, no way. This is not rocket science. Anyway, hey everybody, this is Multiverse Show episode 109. This is going to be interesting. I actually don't think we've actually had just this solo group of people in terms of our group. I don't think we've ever had just Mike, Undead, and I all at the same time. Like, that's it. I know we've had other people, but I don't think we had this particular mix necessarily.
This is going to be the spiciest. The spiciest.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. This is going to be fun. So anyway, going right along, do some of our introductions for you guys. First off, we got to have the Chief of Achievements himself, Nicholas Downey, who has actually graced us with the show on the new channel finally. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And we have live from Twitter prison under deep supermax, Mr. Mike P. the Truth. How are you doing, sir?
Yes, I am doing quite good. Even though I have been deleted off of Twitter, I cannot be deleted from here. So I'm happy to be here once again.
I know, we're going to call you the Donna suspension right now. So he's the Donna suspension, not the Donna deletion no more. All right. And, Anchorman V2, you guys know where to find me, all the regular stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. We were actually just talking about all the insider stuff that's been going around to talk about Xbox or the XO event that's going to be happening this weekend. Finally, all this talk finally going to culminate in something. So, I kind of wanted to ask the panel here briefly, because we already know what you guys have been playing. This has been Red Dead. Like, this is again not rocket science. Everyone's been playing Red Dead, so there's no point asking the question tonight for this week. So I want to ask the panel here about this XO event that's going to be coming up this weekend. I believe it's the 10th, right?
It's the 10th.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's the 10th. Yeah, so it's going to be streamed on the 10th, like 11 o'clock, something like that. But it's going to be live for those of us who are here. It's going to be in Mexico City this year. So the question is going to be, what do you think is going to come out of XO? So let's start with the obvious stuff. Out of the group here, because we only have a smaller panel, so we don't have to actually take turns per se. What are the obvious things that are definitely coming out of XO that you know?
I mean, the obvious things, they're probably going to show some more of Crackdown 3. You're going to see a little bit of Gears 5, any other games that they have in the pipeline for 2019. You'll probably see a little bit more about that Cuphead DLC that they have coming out. They'll probably talk a little bit about the next DLC for Forza Horizon 4. So that kind of stuff is, I think, the obvious stuff that they're going to cover.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, that's obvious. I'd even throw Sea of Thieves in the mix there. I think the next wave of DLC from Sea of Thieves should be pretty obvious. Namely because we just completed the last one, or about to technically, with Forgotten Shores, and so we don't really have any real clue of what the next thing is supposed to be. So this is going to be kind of interesting to see what they're going to do going forward. If Microsoft's going to give up and be like, "All right, Sea of Thieves came and ran its course, bye," or is there going to be another wave of 3 different expansions coming out in the first half of 2019? So we'll find out. Nick, what you got? Any other things we've kind of missed here in terms of obvious stuff?
Well, there's gonna be like quality of life updates for all the games that came out this year. So things that were pretty much are like in the 98% of what we're gonna see is State of Decay 2 updates, PUBG's getting something, Forza Horizon 4's first detailed. And I do believe there is supposed to be a Sea of Thieves segment. So,
yeah.
And the obvious other guarantee is obviously they're going to talk about mouse and keyboard support because they said they would the last Inside Xbox.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, now, so I think that's... Oh, go ahead.
Now, going along with mouse and keyboard support, I don't know. I'm not sure this would be the appropriate venue for this. I haven't really been keeping up on this. Is Master Chief Collection out on PC yet?
I don't know.
Would this be the appropriate venue to announce that?
Well, they already announced at the last event. This is supposedly going to turn into is they're going to, because with the mouse and keyboard support coming to Xbox, the big thing was there was a partnership announced with Razer in regards to peripherals. So what most likely is going to happen is you're going to see Razer on stage or in the Inside Xbox segment showing off Xbox licensed mouse and keyboards. They're probably going to be more geared to people that couch game, because that's a hard selling point for mouse and keyboard support is that, 90% of people probably don't play at desks or anything else. So if they want to sit on their couch and use mouse and keyboard support, there's probably going to be some really good options, and they're going to show off that for a little bit, and they're going to have to touch on how it works and everything else that way. I'm not sure if this is the platform to be doing it. Should do is if they're going to announce mouse and keyboard support at XO, they should be like, this is mouse and keyboard support for Xbox One. These are the games that support some new games coming over because of this program. Announce those games and just focus on the games aspect, and then maybe do a blog post later on the technicals if people are really interested in how it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I think they can take a note from how Sony was doing their E3, where they had the hour or two, PlayStation show or something right before they actually did the conference. It was basically like, here's all the stuff you don't care about. Bye. So then the conference happens. It's like, okay, here's our 3 games. Maybe not this E3, but the ones past. That might be a good idea in terms of having the XO event, then afterwards having okay, here's an Inside Xbox follow-up. Here's all the details of how that works, which I think they're already doing. I believe that's what they're doing. So, I mean, give them the details for that instead. All right, so getting into the other portion of the XO event. So, what would you call? Well, we're gonna do our hot and spicy a little later. This is our hot take, so to speak. What do you think Microsoft's going to bring to the table that's new this year that you think is possible but hasn't been announced or confirmed just yet? We're not talking out there stuff. We're just talking this is predictable but not already announced. I know for me, I think it's basically going to be they're going to announce an obvious game. I think Fable 4 is going to get announced. Something obvious that we all knew was happening. But they can say, okay, now's the time. Here it is. We're not going to give you the much, but we're just going to announce it's in the works. I think that's a safe kind of bet.
I mean, I think you're going to see another announcement of another studio acquisition, maybe. I mean, the one that everybody likes to throw around is Obsidian, so maybe that'll happen, or maybe MDHR possibly. So I think you might hear something like that.
Yeah, I think I think those are two safe ones actually.
So some more risky stuff out there, like I've seen floating around, is that we might see Ninja Theory's new project. It's been rumored for either the Video Game Awards or EXO. So that'd be pretty cool to see. It's Mexico, so there's going to be something Gears related.
Yeah,
Gears of War is massive in Mexico. I think a good prediction would be that you're going to see gameplay for Battletoads.
Yeah, that'd be solid. Of course, Battletoads in this case is not like a super huge game. This is like, here's a side scroller. Remember Battletoads? That was pretty cool, right?
Right, I agree with that. It's not going to be a huge game at all. Battletoads is going to be for, a certain hardcore niche of gamers that grew up in playing games in like late 80s, early 90s, things like that.
Yeah. I honestly don't get the whole hype of Battletoads. I really don't get it. Like, what was it? They had one game. Was it one game? They had one game that came out, then they made the arcade version of that game, and that was it.
And there was also Battletoads and Double Dragon. There was like a crossover game in there too.
That doesn't count. Like,
of course it counts.
No, it's not. It's not a full Battletoads game.
They're in it. Their main characters in it. Of course, it's a full Battletoads game.
Yeah, it's a crossover.
Crossover episode.
Do we call Alien versus Predator official in either one of those series? Do we? No, we don't call Alien versus Predator official in either one of those series. Like, yeah, they exist, but no, they don't count. Like, what do you think this is? The MCU, where everything counts all over again? Anyway. So yeah, I think that's. Anything else you think that's an obvious thing, Nick? Anything else you think?
Super obvious things. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what I remember seeing confirmed for this. You're gonna see a lot of like third party stuff. So you're probably gonna see something like the Division 2, Kingdom Hearts 3. There's supposed to be Game Pass surprises, and a lot of people are saying that Ashen is gonna be one of them because the developers keeps yelling into the Twitterverse that we're launching 2018.
Yeah.
So I think my spicier take is that Ashen and Below will release on Game Pass before the year's over.
That would be interesting.
Because both Ashen and Below were fully playable at PAX East earlier this year.
But would they drop both of them though? Like, that's the real question to me. Like, would you drop both of them immediately? Like,
I think one's a Diablo-style dungeon crawler, and one's whatever Ashen is, because I don't really have an interest in it, so I haven't really been paying attention.
Yeah, but like, wouldn't you spread them out a little bit? Like, okay, maybe you could put one out in December, but then this could be like a mini mic drop moment. Like, I don't know, Ashen available now on Game Pass for free. If you have Game Pass, like, you could do that. I could see that happening.
And that's a thing, is like when they say Game Pass surprises. Now, stereotypically, Xbox is kind of blowing some of their announcements out of the water. And I'm kind of doing a correlation thing right now. Of there's this big tip that there's big PUBG news coming, and PUBG's coming to PS4. It's pointing to a December release date on PS4. I'm wondering if PUBG is going to enter Game Pass. At EXO.
Yeah.
Because essentially that brings it into it doesn't make it free to play, because you still need gold, you still need Game Pass. You get what I mean? It makes people forget about the $30 price tag on it.
Yeah.
True.
Good point. All right, so hot and spicy. It's time to get some good interactions going on here. So, all right, what do you think is a long shot, but you think will happen at XO this year?
You know, I mean, we're talking about mouse and keyboard support. That's one. We also know that Microsoft has a very chummy relationship with Bethesda. So one thing that's a long shot that I would like to see, I mean, they're going to show some third-party stuff at XO too. So one thing that I would like to see, I think it'd be great in tandem with the mouse and keyboard, would be if they were to announce Quake Champions. I think it would be great because it's a popular first-person shooter. You got mouse and keyboard support, so it would take advantage of that. And it's free to play on PC. It's free to play. I would assume it would be the same on Xbox as well. So everybody would be able to try it and see what it's about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Really good point. It wouldn't be the first time too a PC game got ported across, especially in the competitive FPS phase. Everyone always forgets that there was Counter-Strike on Xbox 360. So Quake coming over wouldn't be that weird of a thing. If you want to go like super long shot, like the likelihood of this happening is like 1 in a million. Is and announcing that the coalition, along with another studio, headlining the development, and you're going to get Perfect Dark remaster. But I still think that's for E3 2019.
All right. Well, I'm a little more ballsy than both of you. I'm sorry. I just gotta stretch these around here a little bit. So, I think two things in particular. One, I think that Microsoft will announce the purchase of another studio. One people are not expecting. It's not Obsidian. It's not Studio MDHR. I think they're going to announce the purchase of one particular studio. I am not at liberty to give this time.
Oh God.
Hashtag insider.
I was thinking the same thing.
Hashtag insider. This one in particular, I believe, is more. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this without giving it away. If you look at Microsoft in terms of the studios they have acquired, there's three things they all have in common. One is they all need money. They're good at working on a budget, but they need money so they get that extra oomph. That's one thing they all need. All of them have good, fan goodwill, rather, so to speak, where fans love them for things that they do. For content that they put out there, just for the quality that they do, and like long post-launch support for their games. And the other asset, the other part that they are looking at in terms of their abilities, that they're all considered strong creative types. They have not really gone to acquire any studios that are just like considered or they don't acquire Beanox. They don't acquire guys who are just like cashing in and doing the bare minimum. They're going after studios that are considered strong creative types that have big ballsy visions, and they want to support those visions with cash. So when you look at it that way, there's one particular studio who fits all of those things, who needs money, has great fan support long term, lots of goodwill going around, and strong creative types. I won't say who it is, but let's look at who was on stage with Microsoft the last few years, and we'll go from there. So that's all I'm going to say.
I already know who you're talking about. I just want to blurt it in.
No, don't blurt it out. It's not worth it. It's not worth it yet, because if it does happen. If it does happen, you'll know you heard it here first. But if it doesn't happen, I don't want pitchforks and fire.
You don't want the Tidux 11% accuracy ratio.
Is it 11%? Is it really?
Dude, there's a website. I'll try to find it for you after the show, and it ranks insiders on the percentages of their predictions. So people like sellers, Shinobi, and like Shinobi's got the highest percentage. He's got like something like a whopping like 93% accuracy.
Wow.
And yeah, it was like Marcus Sellers and Tidux were like at the bottom of the list, and they had like, I think Marcus Sellers had like an 8% ratio. Tidux was just above him.
Ugh. Man, what's my ratio? I'm pretty good. I should be decent. Like every prediction I've made has come true.
Because you go back and delete the videos of the predictions.
Shut up! Don't tell nobody. I'm always right. 100%.
Gaps in the Multiverse show. There's episode 62, episode 73. Where did the other 8 episodes go?
Oh man. Now, and the other thing too, and this is the more out there one, but I see a lot of merit in the thought process. The other thing I think that XO that's going to happen, I really get the feeling that Microsoft is going to announce the next Xbox at this XO, and not like here's the box, everybody, available next week, not like that, but like similar to how they did the Project Scorpio reveal, which was, hey, Project Scorpio exists. Here's some random benchmark number that people are going to panic about for the next year. Here's that benchmark. Go freak out over this. And then right afterwards, say, it's going to be here, same time, same place, next year, November 10th, whatever, 2019. And they basically throw down the gauntlet, say, next gen starts now. Here it is. And basically, if you have the current event showing off all these titles and all this studio support, all this background stuff, that really opens up a lot of possibilities, and that looks very good on paper. And it makes you see the support coming out from people immediately, and I just want to kind of see that be done. I want to see that work for them, where they can say, hey, here's what we got going on. Here's what's coming in the future. Be excited. Be prepared. This is when next gen starts. And what that does on a tactical level is it puts Sony in a defensive position, which Sony has been in a defensive position since the X came out. Like ever since E3 2016, when they announced that the Project Scorpio existed, they changed the media narrative from instead being where Microsoft, no matter what Microsoft is doing, it's always being viewed in response to Sony. Instead, that has now been turned to now it's everything Microsoft does is an open question to Sony. When they announced that crossplay was coming, everyone looked at Sony and said, "Where's crossplay at? Where's crossplay at?" And if Sony's not prepared for that, they're going to look stupid like they did with Jim Ryan. Where it was, oh, think of the children, everyone. And that's all the response ever was, which makes them look bad. And then on the flip side, even though the PlayStation 4 Pro was known about in advance beforehand, it didn't matter that it came out, it was announced beforehand to people. When Microsoft said Project Scorpio is coming out in 2017, that laid down the gauntlet and said, this is our benchmark, and if Sony meets it, it still looks like it's in response to Microsoft, and if they don't, they look even worse. And so what happens in this scenario is that Microsoft is out there saying, hey, next gen starts now, or next gen starts next year. Sony can either bump up the release of the PlayStation 5, or even if they had it scheduled for 2019 for the PlayStation 5, even if they already had it scheduled, doesn't matter. It looks like you're responding to Microsoft. And if it's more powerful than whatever Microsoft's got planned, it looks like you responded to Microsoft and made it more powerful. If they're not responding, or if it's not more powerful, it makes them look stupid again. And we do have sources that have confirmed that the X is outselling the Pro. On just the terms of the upgraded consoles, the X is beating the Pro out. Like, we know that. And that's Microsoft's marketing that has done that more than anything else. For people knowing the X is just better than the Pro. It's obvious. It's just blatant. People know. And like you have games like Red Dead that really take advantage of it, and you see the difference. That's the issue. I don't want to rant on this too long, but I think announcing whatever Project Scarlet or whatever they're going to call it, where they announce whatever that project is, that's what you're doing. You're basically laying down the gauntlet and putting Sony in a defensive position again if they're going to respond to it. But then on the flip side, if Sony is not releasing the PlayStation in 2019, then Microsoft basically gave themselves a whole year advantage on Sony, like they did with the 360. And so that's a benefit to them. And it lets them have more dominance in terms of leading the conversation. But sorry, random. Random tangent. So anything else you guys want to bring up about this topic before we head out or move on to the next one?
No, I just really think since they're bringing this back and they decide to make this a bigger deal than inside Xbox, they need to deliver on it. Mm-hmm. And them bringing up their own history. It wasn't journalists that went and dug through. It was Phil Spencer himself that said these were the events that we announced purchasing Rare and things like that. That's automatically setting people's expectations high. So you need to deliver on those promises. Are some people getting way too overhyped about it? Yep. And those people will never be happy. But if you overhype people, you end up with Diablo Immortals.
Yeah, jeez. That's going to be interesting. You know what I saw that was also kind of interesting today? I don't know if anyone else picked up on this too. The whole Jason Schreier thing.
No,
what was going on with those?
That's like Mike's favorite person on the internet.
Yeah. No, so again, I'm hearing this kind of secondhand. I saw bits and pieces of it. This is the kind of thing that you can't really see now because it's already over. Jason Schreier, who works over at Kotaku, he got kind of caught in a little meltdown today. One of the issues that was going down was that people were calling him out on his bias. Which I don't think Jason Schreier is a particularly biased person. I think every human has bias of some sort, but I never saw him as an overt kind of person regarding it. But one of the issues that came up was that, people were going at Blizzard for the whole BlizzCon event that happened over the weekend, basically announcing a mobile Diablo game and all this kind of stuff. And Jason Schreier was out there defending it, saying like people shouldn't be going after corporate entities. Like it's not something you should panic about. Like Blizzard didn't do anything wrong. They're being good guys. Don't worry about it. But then other people pointed out saying like, didn't you say just last year that Microsoft should be joked at and made fun of? Like, but it's okay to insult and joke about corporate entities. He started blocking people. Anybody who was showing him his old tweets were getting blocked.
Also, it wasn't even a year. That was like a 3-month difference with those tweets.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that.
Like literally someone did not have to dig far to find that one.
Yeah, that's like recent memory. Jeez. Yeah, he did not go over very well with people. So, but yeah, that's one of those things you can't really see now too much because things are just already happened and gone into the works. But that's that. Other than that, really in the news today, we're going to kind of bring up Red Dead one more time while we got a chance because we finally got Nick on the show to talk about Red Dead. Nick, have you gotten your game up? Have you played more than 4 hours now?
Yeah, I've got almost 20 hours in now, I think.
Almost 20? Ugh. Lame.
Tell that to my work.
You can quit. You don't need to work. Just say I got Red Dead. Red Dead.
Literally, like I started my new job like last month, and
yeah.
They're like they tell me right off the bat, they're like, we never work Saturdays. I'm like, okay, cool, I love it. So we didn't work Saturdays. The week before Red Dead comes out, so Red Dead comes out on the Friday. I'm so excited. My boss comes up to me and goes, "We have inventory." I'm like, okay. He's like, It's on Saturday. I'm like,
you lied to me. You lied.
and like, and if we don't get it all done, you'll have to work Sunday too. I'm like,
you guys told me. You told me.
I'm like, so you're telling
I've
me
been betrayed.
Betrayal. Nick will remember this.
you're telling me that you guys don't work any Saturdays, but the one Saturday you work is the Saturday that one of the biggest games of this generation is coming in. Okay, it's fine. Perfectly fine.
You should have quit right then and there. I said, no, I can't do this.
Then I wouldn't be able to afford the game, and I'd just be poor.
It'll be fine. You'll find a job. It'll be okay. Yeah. But yeah, so tell us your impressions, Sarah, because you were the person who was super hyped about this game, along you and Sam, before the game came out, and I made fun of you guys, and as I made fun of everybody else. I want to get your impressions on this from a true Red Dead fan's perspective.
Well, I'm not going to lie. The first few hours of the game were they were slow, especially since I was only able to play for an hour at a time. That first few hours was rough. And then when the world actually opened up and I started interacting with the world itself, with the animals, the people, and everything else, the detail is absolutely mind-blowing. Like, you can't even put into words all the small details of how people interact with you, how just everything. It's just overwhelming while playing this game. I could go on and on about how beautiful this game is and sound like every other damn person on Twitter, but instead I'm going to tell a really funny story. So I was playing Red Dead, I think it was the day yesterday or the day before, and I saw a gentleman, he had a woman tied to his horse, and he was galloping away with her, and I thought I'd be the hero. So I was like, don't worry, ma'am, I'll get you. I pulled out the tomahawk, I chucked it, and I hit her in the back of the head. And he turned around and said, you monster, and then rode off. And I feel like a terrible person. That's Red Dead Redemption for me, basically.
God, that really? That's just, I'm just sitting here in silence like, oh my God, what a dick.
No, like I've had so many, like my biggest dick moment in Red Dead Redemption 2 was pulling out.
Hashtag big dick moments.
The worst thing I ever did was pulling up beside a guy and he's sitting there shooting glasses, like jugs off of a rock. He's like, I bet I can shoot better than you. So I watch him. He shoots like three glasses off in 3 shots. He's like, I bet you can't beat that. So I shot him in the face and stole his money. I also was one of the first people, at least in my group of friends, to attempt to drown someone in shallow water. Tie someone up and stick them in a puddle in Red Dead Redemption 2. You can watch them slowly drown, which may go down the most sadistic things I've ever done in a video game. I really sound like a monster. I'm gonna quiet down now.
Even more than sticking car battery on a man's testicles in GTA 5. Even more than that. Wow.
Oh, I forgot about that. Good time.
Yeah, like Trevor kind of set that bar kind of high. So, yeah. Anyway, random.
The absolute worst one. I didn't tell this on the gaming perspective. I thought I did, but no, I decided to pass on. So there was a gold prospector, and a key part of this story. He was a black gold prospector. And he was like, I found gold. So my first instinct was to lasso him and tie him up. And I was just stealing his gold. I was going to let him live and everything else. And then a carriage goes galloping by, and I'm like, great. I'm going to get witnessed for a crime and all this. And they ride by, and they're like, good. We don't need his folk around here anyway. And they kept riding.
Oh, my God. Wow.
And I'm just like, you guys really have that much of a problem with gold prospectors? Damn.
Oh my god. Jeez, man. Oh, man, Red Dead's we're going for that realism. Anyway, man, I've been having a blast playing Red Dead. There's so many other little stories. So the story of why I carried a sawed-off shotgun as my my other hip fire weapon. So the reason why is I love how they've done this thing where you go on the side of the road and you see other things just randomly happen to you. Other people come to you and like they try to provoke you to not just do the main missions over and over and over again. One of them that does come up is there's this. You'll hear people asking for help on a regular basis. Things like, "Oh, help me! I've been bit by a snake," or "Oh, help me! So I'm like trapped underneath a horse." You see stuff going on, so you're supposed to interact with that. One of the ones though, and I've created a hard rule: if they don't tell you what the problem is up front in their first line of dialogue, it's a scam. That's the rule I've always followed to this point. So the reason why is that I was riding by, and I see there was this lady, and she's like, "Oh, help me! Something's going on. Help me!" So I get off. I say, "Hey, what's up?" Lo and behold, I see, and she's like, she pulls out a gun, and I surrender. I'm like surrendering. I'm like, okay, all right, this is bad. I gotta kill her. And there's an option where you can reach for your gun and try to kill them. As soon as she was starting to pat me down, she called her friends, and 3 other dudes on horseback just show up. And so I'm like, okay. I got my cattleman deals, my hands over the holster. So I go, yeah. So I shoot her, but I didn't kill her in the first shot. And she had a double-barrel shotgun. So I didn't kill her in the first shot, so she killed me right there. And I was like, damn. No more. I'm not doing that. And ever since then, I've carried a sawed-off shotgun ready to roll. And so I'm like, okay, we're doing this. And then the next time that happened, there was a guy, and he was like, "Oh, help me get a ride to town." So I was like, "Oh, look, he actually asked a question. He actually needs help." So I go to stop him, and he does the same thing. He's trying to hold me up. I reach for the double-barrel shotgun and shoot him straight in the face. His head explodes. I was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" I'm horrified, but I'm in love at the same time. I'm intrigued. So, yeah, Red Dead is fun. A lot of fun. So, another little piece we're going to kind of talk about here. Fallout 76 is coming out next week. It's going to come out on the 14th, so it's dropping on a Wednesday. So, I know I have played it. Mike, you've got a chance to play it all yet?
I have not, no.
Nick?
No, I couldn't get myself off Red Dead to play it.
Yeah. So, have you guys seen any of the gameplay at all?
I've watched some live streams of it on PC and stuff, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, same here. I've seen a little bit of it, not too much, though.
All right. Gotcha. So, I've had firsthand accounts of it. I haven't been able to talk about it until now. I know a lot of you guys do care about my opinion on this because I'm kind of like the de facto Fallout guy. So, I'll kind of give my brief impressions on this because I do think it is important that you guys make an educated decision regarding this game. I know for me, I like the game personally, but I really don't think this is a game for a lot of people. It's going to be treated like how Elder Scrolls Online was by Elder Scrolls fans. You're going to have the hardcore guys who are going to love it because it's more Elder Scrolls or more Fallout. But you're also going to have people who, like the casual fans, like the people who love Skyrim trying to jump in Elder Scrolls Online weren't feeling Elder Scrolls Online. It was like the casual fans who just want to walk around and do their thing. You're not going to get that here. This is an MMO. It's a well hidden MMO, but it's still an MMO. and there's a lot of mechanics in there that are there, and you're gonna have to make choices. But you can all it feels better. I'm trying to figure out how to describe this better. Did you guys play Elder Scrolls Online at all? Yes, no,
No,
maybe.
I didn't.
No, because I knew it was an MMO going in, and I'm not a huge super MMO fan. So,
I mean, they gave it away for free once, so that's why I tried it. So that's why I was asking if you guys have played it. So I played it, and when you play the game, you choose your alliance pact, and you choose certain things, and it's just like, all right, it's cool, whatever. But you start off in a tutorial zone, and it's like, oh look, I have to do my tutorial thing, and then I'm out, and then I'm free, but everything feels sectioned off based on what sect you picked and what region you're going to. Everything feels sectioned off, so it feels like an MMO. They have to go join different sessions and that kind of stuff. This doesn't feel like that. They do a very good job of making it feel like this is Fallout with my friends. They nail that vibe. It feels like, oh, I'm starting Fallout, but my friends are here too. But it doesn't make you feel special. Okay, Bethesda does this all the time with their games. You're always the one. You're the lone wanderer, the dragonborn. You're always some special person who everything pivots around. This is not that. You're just some other dude from the vault. You're not anybody special. You're just trying to figure out and build stuff. That's what you're trying to do. You're exploring and building and crafting. That's it. It's the base gameplay from Fallout 4 as its own game. Don't think of it as anything else. If you liked the base mechanics of Fallout 4, you like shooting, you like scavenging, you like building, you're going to love Fallout 76. If you didn't like that, you ain't going to have fun. Don't bother. Believe me, it is in my best interest to get you to buy Fallout 76 because I want more people to play with, but I cannot in good conscience tell that to people who aren't into Fallout like me. Can't do that. And even then, even people who are hardcore Fallout fans like me or are obsessed with lore, you're going to hate this game too because they're changing stuff. One of the things that they're changing is the Brotherhood of Steel. And everyone knows that ever since the Bethesda acquisition, they've had this huge hard-on for the Brotherhood of Steel, and they keep changing them. And they're going to do it again. It's if you liked Fallout 3 and you liked Fallout 4 and you like those interpretations of the Brotherhood of Steel, this is the same thing. The Brotherhood of Steel are great people. They're amazing.
I like them in Fallout New Vegas where they're all holed up in a bunker and scared for their lives.
Exactly. That's the whole point. That's what the Brotherhood of Steel is supposed to be. But no, we had to make it different. We had to, they want to change everything. But those are for hardcore lore people. Basically, they changed the lore again. For those of you that don't know, the deep lore of Fallout is that I'm trying to remember this correctly. I'm not the huge deep lore person when it comes to this, so I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. The Brotherhood of Steel are a paramilitary group that were basically hiding out in the Northwest at this special military base, waiting out the bombs, and they waited there for 50 to 60 years before coming out. But Fallout 76 takes place 20 years afterwards, and they've already made their ass all the way over there to the East Coast. It's wow, 20 years, they just moved out immediately. That's the problem, is that it changes that. It changes the lore up, and it freaks people out. Good news is there are other factions. There's other stuff going on. People saying, oh, there are no humans. Oh, there's nothing else. They're there. It's just not what you think it is. So,
I think one of the things they've failed to do, and even more so since the beta's come out, I've seen better explanation from third-party sources on what this game is than what Bethesda's actually described it as. If that makes any sense. I've seen people's takes offer more insight to what the game actually is than what Bethesda's tried to market this as. Because they're just like, it's Fallout with your friends. And it's like, but how does that work? And they're like, it's Fallout with your friends.
I mean, they literally built the game around that.
Yeah.
Like, that is the entire purpose. But it's just not... It's one of those things where it's like, I don't think Bethesda knows how to market that at all. Because they've been so single-player focused for so long. And they don't really know how to make that work.
I don't know. They're very deaf to how to market a multiplayer game. It's the same thing as what I always say about the tone deafness of Nintendo. It's just being out of touch with a modern audience. I don't mean that as a knock against Nintendo. It's like them coming up with a new different Nintendo phone app for Smash. Oh, you didn't like the first phone app? That broke the internet because everyone was really mad about it? Let's make a second phone app. And that kind of tone deafness shows, obviously. I think it's the same kind of thing with Bethesda. Is like they've never really marketed anything that's multiplayer only. Yeah, you could say Quake and everything else, but Quake has like that cult following, cult classic status to it, right? It influenced so many games that people are going to play Quake are going to play Quake. And I think Fallout 76, it does have an uphill battle, especially because we know that this game is going to be glitchy. We know it's going to be buggy. And everyone's going in with that expectation. And everyone's coming off of Red Dead, a multiplayer Fallout game. It could be disastrous, potentially.
Could be.
But also the flip side of this is if with them marketing Fallout to a multiplayer audience, is there going to be a huge spike in casuals that pick up this game over the hardcore audience?
That's a good point. I don't know. I really don't know how this is going to play out for them.
It's actually
Fallout 4 is one of the top 10 best-selling games on Xbox One.
Oddly, and no digital sales. That was the one thing about it.
Right.
Well, where is it? Fallout 4.
They put that out there. It was for those of you that don't know what we're talking about. Matt Piscatella from over the MPD group put out the top 10 selling games of each for each console, digital and physical sales included. I think actually I had retweeted it, so I should have it here somewhere. Give me a second. There it is. I got it. So, yeah, he said, Matt Piscatella said after September's release, got a few questions on the best-selling PS4 and Xbox One games life to date in the U.S. Here are the rankings from the MPD group. We'll be interested to see how this list changes by the end of what should be an incredible quarter four. On PlayStation, the top – well, let's do top 10 in reverse order. So, number 10 is NBA 2K17. Number 9 is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Number 8 is Star Wars Battlefront. Number 7 is God of War. Battlefield 1 is number 6. The top 5 are, in reverse order, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3, Call of Duty World War 2, and then number 1 is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Infinite Warfare's top 5?
Yeah. Sad, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason I say that Fallout 76 may not be in quote unquote player trouble is that, you know, Fallout 4 is the best, like the fastest selling game of all time. It sold 12 million copies and generated $750 million in the first 24 hours of its launch.
Yeah.
It's top Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which is monumental because that was after a couple of bad Call of Duty games and it was going back to Treyarch. And everyone was like, oh, it's the best thing ever coming. So
yeah, Black Ops 3 was so well received that when Infinite Warfare came out, there were more people playing Black Ops 3 like up to 4 months after its launch. I think actually even beyond that, like I think Infinite Warfare only topped it when they had a free weekend.
Dude,
That
when
was
the first 3 months after Call of Duty Black Ops 2 went backwards compatible, there was more people playing Black Ops 2 than there was playing Infinite Warfare on all consoles.
Dude, there was more people
Yeah.
playing Black Ops 2 than Titanfall 2.
Oh, that's not much of an accomplishment,
Significantly
though.
more.
I think
All right,
I
so here's the list too on Xbox. This should be interesting. So keep in mind, here are the top game. Well, here are the top games on PlayStation 4 one last time: GTA 5, Call of Duty World War 2, Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, 2K18, Battlefield 1, God of War, Star Wars Battlefront, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and NBA 2K17. Notice on this list here, there is only one single-player game, a true single-player game, God of War. That's the only one. Because if you say, oh, Grand Theft Auto, no, it has online. That's the only reason people are still playing it. That's the only reason it keeps selling so well. Because people want to play, they want to play that online. But now on Xbox, roughly the same kind of deal. Number one is Grand Theft Auto 5. Then it's Call of Duty World War 2, Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare. And then Battlefield 1. Then Star Wars Battlefront 2015. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Halo 5 as number 8. Number 9 is Destiny 2. Number 10 is Fallout 4. And there's one big caveat about Fallout 4. It is only physical sales, no digital sales. And the fact that that game has been basically given away on Xbox, like it's on sale all the time. Like, you go look at it, they just got done with another publisher sale. It was like $15 to get Fallout 4. Like, yeah, like this game, and not just that, but it's on Game Pass now. Like it's like, geez, man, and Game Pass wouldn't count towards it anyway. But Fallout 4 sold a ton of units, and don't get it twisted. It's a big deal. But yeah, so all right, yeah. Anyway, so going back to why Fallout 76 might have a problem, I just do not think it's going to appeal to a lot of you people. Like, I just don't think it will. It's one of those things where they were trying to, like, we need to strike a middle ground between people. We want people to be able to play with their friends and not be harassed by other players. And, like, to that point, like, if you don't, like, you shooting other players doesn't do anything. Like, unless they shoot back at you, nothing's going to happen. Like, it really is not a big deal. And, like, it's not like one person who's like, oh, I got power armor, you can come attack you. You both can attack each other. You have an equal chance of killing each other, no matter what level. They could be level 20. You could be level 2. Doesn't matter. You both have an equal chance of killing each other. Like, they make sure that the game is supposed to be co-op and not player killy focused. Like, they left it open so you can kill, but you can have one big giant server. Let's kill each other fest if you want, but it has to be consensual murder. Is it called that? Consensual murder? Question for the chat. Like, if you both consent to killing each other, is that consensual murder? Is that war? Is that assisted suicide? What is that? Not quite sure. Anyway, so going back to the point at hand, they do have some survival elements in the game. Like, you have a hunger bar, you have a stamina bar. Like, they have that kind of stuff. They have a thirst bar. You have to balance all those things. It's not like over the top, but you do need to pay attention to it. Like, it's one of those things where it's like the hardcore survival people who like playing Fallout on survival like me, we're going to be okay with it. It's not going to be as hardcore as we'd like it to be, but it's like, okay, it's there. But that's my spiel on Fallout. I'm sorry.
No, I'm totally with you. Like, it's weird for me because I know that they're trying to take a different stab at Fallout, but this is honestly the first Fallout where I'm not like gripping my chair excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just kind of like I'm more excited because my Hitman 2 Collector's Edition comes in on Friday. So I'm really excited for that. And then it's like, oh, I guess Fallout 76 after that, I guess. But they just haven't done a really good job at hyping me up for it.
Yeah. I think with Fallout, what will be a really cool thing for them is they try to do the same level of support like Overwatch, where it's like they have events on a regular basis. Like one of my favorite, this is a random stupid thing, but I love seasonal events. I love them so much. I love when Overwatch would do it. Like, oh, here's the Halloween event. Here's the Christmas event. Here's the Chinese New Year event. Like, like just random stuff. I love that kind of thing. That gets me back invested. And if Fallout 76 does this on a regular basis and they're saying, hey, here's more content. Here's some seasonal stuff. Like if they come out and they say, oh, yeah, starting in December, we're going to have snow all over the map. I'm gonna buy it again. I don't even care. Just put the snow on there, man. Just do it. like, just do that kind of thing. We're in West Virginia. It snows up there. Like, we can do this. Like, that's all I want. Like, even have to be a thing. Like, oh, now you have to worry about like a frost mechanic. Oh, you're gonna get too cold. Like, if you do that, I'm gonna love this game. That's all I want. Like, that's literally all I want. Just keep doing that. Give me Fallout I could play all year. I mean, I played Fallout 4 for 3 years. I could do it again. So,
I mean,
anyway.
joking aside, I think that's a really good point because that's how you're going to be able to keep the player base. You know, kind of piggybacking on what Nick was saying earlier, I do think that you're going to see an influx of casuals come into this game, and the player base is going to be higher at first. But I think the challenge that Bethesda has going forward is how they're going to maintain that player base and keep those new players or their casual players. And I think doing stuff like that is a great way to do it, honestly.
Yeah. No, like that's how they need to do it. And they're very transparent too, is the DLC with Fallout 76 will be free, and that's why they have viable microtransactions within the game because and when I say microtransactions, they're cosmetic only. They have viable cosmetic DLC or microtransactions so that you don't have to pay for a season pass. So all DLC and content updates is free, which is in a game like Fallout 76, making all the DLC content free makes sense. The simple reason is you don't want to separate your player base based on what they own.
Yeah, and how can you? Like that's the real question. How can you actually do that?
Yeah, like in
a world where it's one giant shared world.
Yeah, and
how are you going to do that?
Like they couldn't do that. It's not like Call of Duty where it's like, oh, you don't own the map pack? Well, you can't queue in lobbies with that map. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah. An open-ended world game like Fallout 76, you wouldn't be able to do that. So they're doing the goodwill move and saying we're making the DLC free because it's good for everybody, which it is.
Yeah, and not just that, but like, okay, here's the problem too. So going back, and I wanted to play Black Ops 2. We were going to prepare for the event we were going to do, but I went back to play it and I said, oh look, Mike's because Mike and I are game sharing. He had like, oh look, he's got the DLC, the one DLC pack I don't have. And so I forgot which one it was. I think it was the last one.
Yeah.
I think it was the last one. I just don't have that one. That's the only one I don't have. And so he has that, and I wanted to play those maps, but nobody has those maps anymore who are still playing. So I can't play those anymore, which sucks. It really sucks. It's like I want to try out those new maps, but I can't. I'm not going to have bots. I want to play with real people. But that's the problem when you have that kind of that DLC model. But one last thing before we wrap things up, I do want to rant about something. So I forgot who I was listening to. No, I think it was the Iron Lords yesterday. And they were talking about DLC models. and talking about the whole charging for like charge $100 versus 60 for games. And Nick, I think you were listening too at the time. I don't remember. I was taking a shower at the time when they were talking about it, so I couldn't really respond. But one of the things that was coming up was they were saying, like, why can't we just pay? Can't we all just move up to $80 or $100 and just pay that up front, and all DLC is free in the future? And I was like, really? Like, this is why I have a problem with the gaming community as a whole. The issue I have is that everyone has solutions, but no one is ever willing to do them. And we're very selfish, and we think very short term. As a general rule, I am totally for microtransactions. Cosmetic stuff, go right ahead. If you want to skip the game, get to the end of it, like in Assassin's Creed, be my guest. I don't care. That's totally up to you. But this is not something I want to budge on. The issue is that every time we as a gaming community have something that comes up, and there's an event that gets everybody pissed, the industry reacts to it, and they try to work within those confines. And the problem is we keep making the confines more and more complex for them until something's got to give. For example, we had expansions, big paid stuff. Like, oh yeah, here's a new giant expansion for the game. And generally people were fine with that. But then they would have like, oh, here's some DLC. Like, here's a pack of 10 missions or something. Like, we're not expanding the world. We're not doing anything crazy. Here's just some more missions. People said they had a problem with this. Like, you're holding out content. This is not fair. You can't hold out content from us. And so they said, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll include that stuff in the game. We'll add it as a rolling kind of launch thing. We'll just add more missions as it comes in. This is more than that long-term support idea, but we're going to have microtransactions. And I'm just looking at short-term. Like, we're going to use Halo 5 as an example. When Halo 5 came out, it said all future DLC is free, but we're going to have microtransactions. You're going to pay for stuff. You can do it if you want. You don't have to if you don't want to. But all future like maps and weapons and stuff, those are free. Don't worry about it. And people said, we don't like microtransactions. We don't like this at all. So people said, okay, I got it. You want to have that stuff for free? We'll do loot boxes. You pay us for loot boxes, game's still $60. You could pay if you want to get more chances, but you get these loot boxes by leveling up in the game like Overwatch. People say, we don't like loot boxes. Loot boxes are stupid. We don't like this. Even though we can get all this content in the game, I just want to guarantee I can get this one particular item for free. And so they say, okay, fine. We get it. So you don't want us to increase the price from $60. You don't want us to have DLC you could pay for. You don't want us to let you have the option to get something for free in a randomized option. But like, what else are we supposed to do? We're stuck in a position. We don't know how are we supposed to continue from here. And then you have games like Titanfall 2, who they go out there and they say, okay, we're not doing any of that stuff. If you want to have a cosmetic stuff, we're going to put it out there on the store. Nobody bought it. And everyone's like, they tried to do the right thing, and you guys didn't buy it. Doesn't make sense to me. And so for me, I'd rather have microtransactions knowing that's what the option is and knowing it doesn't affect me. I'd rather have microtransactions. Because you know what you're getting. People who want to buy into the system, and they say, okay, I want to do $60. That's my entry fee. That's fine. I want to play the base game. That's cool. Versus the people who say, okay, I want everything. They pay $100, get everything. That's fine. But you got to have both those options. You can't, like, as soon as you make the games $100 starting, you're going to cut out a whole market of people. You're going to cut out a bunch of people. Having that $60 price tag gets people on board. That's why the whole free-to-play model works. You charge it for $0 to make it free. People jump on board because it's free, and they're willing to spend money. Like, look at Fortnite, another great example. If Fortnite wasn't free, no one would be playing that game. Like that. That's a blatant truth. If Fortnite wasn't free, no one would be playing it. It would not. I don't even think it would have reached the same numbers that PUBG did. At PUBG's peak, not even close. And PUBG did that and being a paid game. PUBG broke records and was a full paid game. But look at how much money people are dropping on Fortnite because it was free. You lower the barrier of entry so you have more players. And you're opening up a new marketplace. And this is something I always get really frustrated with because no one understands how economics works. No one understands how to get more people on your platform. This is what Microsoft's been doing for the last 6 months, if not more, lowering the barrier of entry. They literally opened a finance plan to make you buy an Xbox. How much more do you want? They've lowered the barrier of entry so low. There's no excuse anymore. And that's the point. If you lower the barrier of entry, you'll get people on your platform. You'll get people in your game. And then you can sell stuff to them. The problem is that people look at things in a too antiquated way of things don't evolve over time. Things have to evolve or things die. And people who don't want things to change, unfortunately, I have to say, are the worst for the industry. You want things to stay in the past, and things just won't last that way. It just doesn't. It sucks, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Well said.
Yeah. No, the thing is things have to change because, games cost the same amount, if not less than they used to. And we expect that much more quality, and there's that many more people working on games now. Like, you look at, you can use Red Dead Redemption 2 as an example. There was no game in history prior to this that had over 3,000 developers working on it. The logistical operating budget of a studio to operate for 5 to 6 years developing with 3,000 employees working on one project? That's gangbusters to break even.
I was talking with Sam about this earlier today. Like, look at the budget for Death Stranding. Like, you know how much they're gonna have to sell to make that budget back, to make that money they spent on this game back. It's gonna be crazy, dude. It's gonna be crazy. Like they gotta sell. I don't know. They gotta sell at least upward of like 8 million units. People don't even know what the game's about. I don't even know if it's gonna hit that. So, it's gonna be crazy, man. But anyway, anything else we want to talk about before we head out?
Trying to think now.
Nah, I'm good.
All right. So we'll wrap things up here. This was good just having you guys here. Like, Sally, maybe we don't need Famer Sam or James. Maybe we can cut the podcast just 3 people.
Oh, you mean like it used to be?
Yeah, like it used to be back in the old days.
I was gonna say, I remember when it used to be you, me, and Fame just bickering in a circle for 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's the way it used to be, man. Anyway, we'll wrap things up. Mike, from Twitter prison, the dawn of suspension, where can the people find you at in the meantime?
Well, now that I'm not on Twitter, you can find me here or occasionally writing an opinion piece for the site. But always remember, there are 3 E's in delete. They stand for educate, entertain, and enlighten. You, my friends, have just experienced all 3.
I still call that a trademark. Everyone else is dead. No, that's never been heard before. All right, and Nick, where can the people find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Undead3XVI, writing news and opinion pieces on TickGamesNetwork.com, and of course on YouTube at Undead3XVI as well.
All right, and I'm Anchorman VT. You can find me on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever. whatever social media site is there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's a Pornhub account or something like that with my name on it. So,
Okay.
so at this point, actually, I know there is one because I saw someone actually did this to me back in 2015. This is back on We Game Here days. Someone actually put a picture. Oh my God, who did this? I'm trying to remember who did this. Nick, you might remember this. Someone actually did a screenshot of a comment on Pornhub on a random video, and they said it was. I think it was still when I was going under Anchorman V, or just the Anchorman V.
Yeah,
I think that's what the name was at the time, and they said 0 out of 10, not enough Fallout.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh my God. That's so
I remember that.
Oh my God, that was fun. But anyway, we'll wrap things up here. Episode 109 of the Multiverse Show. And remember to go like and subscribe on the new channel. So we will talk to you guys later. And we're out of here.